Social media automation. Should we just be focused on the results and growth? Or do we need to think more deeply about the consequences of automation, the psychological part of it, or how good or bad it is? Today we're going to talk to social media automation expert Adi Ankonina about the real pros and cons about automation tools on social media platforms in 2021. She will be sharing some of the dark secrets from the black hat world and some things that can sound pretty crazy for some people who aren't familiar with these tools. Welcome to the Controverse, episode 6.
And there we are. We should recording, Tom.
We should recording. Absolutely.
So, yeah, you already introduced her. Let's say hello to our guest. Hello, Adi. Thank you for being here with us. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Bello and Tom. So good to see you over here and to be on your cool podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us. The honor is completely ours.
We hope that it becomes cool. We don't think it's cool yet, but we know that it's at least controversial. And today we have another controversial topic that if somebody might Google you, they might think that you're just a only optimistic person all about what you do. But we found out that you might not be as on the one side as it might seem. You do social media automation, consulting, web scraping. You offer services for businesses who want to grow their audiences on Instagram and all these kinds of social media. What else do you do? Like, maybe introduce yourself for our audience. Who are you? What do you do? What have I forgotten?
Thank you, Bill. You actually mentioned my main topics and my main work, my daily work. Basically, it's what I do for the last 2 years. I focused on automation, on the black hat world, if it's scraping, if it's the proxies world, if it's automation. I love all of these topics. And what I also love, or like one of the reasons I actually love it so much, it's like the psychology part of that, and like to see how these things are really happening and how people react to automation and to some stuff you're doing. It's pretty interesting. Yes.
So some people might not understand what web scraping, black hat world, proxies, all these technological terms. What does that mean?
That's a great question. Yes, so I can tell like basically automation in general is to do any action you can do manually to take it to the automatically world. For example, if I want to do follow or unfollow on people's Instagram accounts, or if I want to comment on cool people's YouTube, like yours, or stuff like that. Scraping, it means, for example, if I want to scrape your emails from YouTube, if you have like a public email, for example, so I can actually get it manually, but I can also get it automatically. So it's all about like managing your time better. How I see it, I can do stuff like on scaling. You can scale everything. If you do manually, you're very limited with your time and with the result you get. Automation is like everything.
So basically you let robots do some work for you so that people have more time and you have more time as well.
Definitely. Like as a business owner or show, like, number one problem of all of us, we don't have time. Like,
what about you, Tom? Have you automated anything in your work yet?
No, I haven't touched any automation because I'm so scared of Instagram. I'm scared of social media in general, that it wants to, it wants to work against me. We've seen this a couple times. We've even seen it with our YouTube channel. That's why we're on Twitch now. It's so easy for these companies to see what you're doing and then just instantly, completely nuke everything you've worked for, and then it doesn't want to show you to the world anymore. And I've experienced this personally with a couple of things. Like, for example, Instagram. I wasn't even automating anything, but I was reusing my hashtags because I was like, okay, these hashtags work. I'm actually growing with my street photography, so this is nice. I'm going to use the same ones. I'm going to tag the same people because this works. I can see there's a pattern here. Okay, I'm getting followers. And then at a certain point, everything just stopped working. And you can see in the statistics, how much percentage of the people that see your photo are from hashtags or from the Explorer page or from your profile. And I went from like 40% or no, sorry, even more. I think it was like 70 or 80% of the people seeing my photo weren't following me. And then the next day it was 1%. And I saw my growth completely tank all out of the blue. So that's why I'm very scared of these automation tools, because I know that, these automation tools are basically, the biggest enemy of big tech, I would almost say. It's everything big tech doesn't want you to do. And it even doesn't want you to repeat a hashtag. So, that's why I'm so scared of it. And that's why I haven't touched it in my life, because it's scary.
But now you have an expert who you can ask your questions. Do you have already some questions in mind that you would like to ask?
Well, how do you manage that risk? Because I'm sure there's some risk management going on here, where you're growing an Instagram account. Maybe it's an established Instagram account that is flourishing, but you want it to flourish more based off of automation. So how do you manage that risk? Because even if you have 20,000 followers, Instagram might just tell you, okay, it's over for you now. What do you do then? Like, how do you manage that risk?
That's actually a great question, and I think it's one of the most common question I get from my potential clients or students, or just people who Google about it, about Jarvee, for example. And yes, there is a risk, of course, and it actually take me back to the subject I mentioned on the start about the proxies. So proxies, for the people who don't know, sorry, it's like an IP that you can use to hide your real IP. For example, at the moment, I'm in Mexico. Lucky me, you're all welcome to come and join me. Very cool over here. And let's say I want to show Instagram, I'm not in Mexico, I'm from the US now. So this is what I can do. I can just purchase some proxies. There are many, many types of proxies. I don't know if you want me to get into details of like a 4G or data center, or like there are a lot of stuff inside. We can get into there or not. But it's basically what we're doing. And then you can actually hide your real IP, and it's very hard to flag your activity. For example, if I will change my IP every X amount of hours. So it's very hard to do it. And also there are like some settings parts and, like black hat stuff. For example, let's say I want to grow your Instagram page. So I want to work on the API of Instagram. I would actually do it on the browser, on embed browser. And it's very hard for Instagram to flag activity on browser. But if I would do it on API, it's very easy. Does it make sense? So I'm just like...
Yeah, but I think only because I've experimented with some of this stuff. I touched code, and I know about these terms. Like, maybe for some people who might not know, hacking is described in categories or ordered in categories. There's so-called black hat hacking, white hat hacking, and gray hat hacking, where you're kind of in a legal zone, not sure where you are, or definitely legal or for good purposes. And so I do understand it, but I'm also like, I think it might be very overwhelming to start with everything right off the bat. So maybe we can start easy with a quick question about what you mentioned. You said, according to Instagram right now, for example, you are in the US. Does it matter? Like, does it improve anything if you are in the US, or is it just right now because of its, the X amount of time now you're in US and in 1 hour you're gonna be in France or whatever?
Yes, so it's very important, not so much the location actually, it's mostly like what I'm doing in this location. So for example, I'm sure all of us know, if I want to log in to Instagram, I can actually log in from my mobile to maximum 5 accounts, right? I cannot do it more technically. And here we go back to the scaling that we spoke on the start. So let's say I want to run more than 5 accounts. If I will use the same IP at the moment I'm using, so wait, if someone say, okay, what's going on? Like, you can only do 5, but if I will do just like 10 accounts on the same IP, and I do some of like the same actions for the same hashtags or like stuff that develop some pattern, so they will say, okay, we know what you're doing.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
So there's some technical things that you can do to kind of make Instagram think, or any social media platform think, that you're a legit user, I suppose.
Exactly.
But sure, I get that. But I guess I'm talking more about the psychological aspect of it, like you said, of even, you know, hopping into something like this. I couldn't imagine myself doing that, because it's you know, it would be a giant risk in my eyes. You understand? So yeah, I mean, I guess there are technical ways to avoid it, but we never know for sure. I guess, right? We never know for sure how the algorithms work, or based off of what. Is that just based off experience that you're making these, or that Jarvis is making these decisions?
Yeah, it's a lot of experience, and also learning. Like there, I don't know if you know, but there are some articles. It's actually Instagram and Facebook published to the world a few years ago about how the algorithm work. Are they actually give some trust to some accounts? They have some beautiful data actually that they share. I don't think that a lot of people know about it because it's pretty boring. It's like, I don't know, like 30 pages of something. But it is dangerous. As for the psychology part, I can see it from two ways. I can see it from psychology part of, like, for example, if you do it for your own account, are you actually, how you think about it, like how you feel about someone, like to use the stuff, and also think about the other part of, like, people that you're doing some actions, interact with them automatically. So also about the psychology part of that. What is more interesting, do you think?
Mm, I think it's more interesting probably to do it for other people because you don't have the risk for yourself, right? That's what I would guess.
Yeah, like you mean like I mean, like if you are the audience, for example, let's say I now grow your Instagram page and I'm doing some follow actions on your prospect. So,
Mhm.
like, I mean, interesting, like to see how normal people, like the people that we actually engage with them, they don't know we're doing automation, or maybe some of them can think about it, but how they think about it. And we are doing, for example, follow today, and after a few days
Mhm.
we unfollow them. Did you try that, by the way, to do something like that?
I did it by accident. This is also something that I wanted to get on to later, but we can also start here about this new platform Clubhouse because I was introduced in a club. Um, I have mixed feelings about Clubhouse. So first things first, and then I was going to examine the platform, and somebody who I know from a professional background invited me in a room where they said 100 connections guaranteed. I didn't even understand what it meant at that point of time. But I just entered. And then it was quite interesting in the beginning because it was kind of a virtual stage where everyone was supposed to present themselves. And I thought, okay, cool. I'm getting to know a lot of people. But they also wanted you to follow each other because they were saying, hey, Clubhouse is different. The more people you follow, the more rooms you're going to see. It's important to follow a lot of people. The more interesting people you follow, the more interesting rooms you're going to find and everything. So I ended up jumping from 5 connections, like 5 followers and people who I follow, like real people I knew on Clubhouse, to 300 people in one, I don't know, 2 hours. And what happened after a while is I unfollowed 2/3 of the people who I followed. But I think maybe only 50 people max unfollowed me. So I kind of accidentally did it. And I understood that this is kind of a way of doing it, but I was never really a fan of it because I felt like it was cheap. I don't know, but maybe it's just me. But I did do it, so guilty.
I guess this leads kind of into where you were talking about the psychology of it, right? It's interesting to me because I saw on your YouTube comment that, you know, that Jarvis or you or is really thinking about this, or it's been thought about, because I couldn't figure out if the comment was real or not. You know
We
what I
have to
mean?
give the context. So how did we meet Adi? The
Yeah, I guess.
interesting thing, yeah, tell the story
But
to the
yeah,
audience.
so we got a YouTube comment on one of our episodes, and on the social media algorithms episode that we did with Eastblock Boy, where we were talking about social media algorithms, which completely nuked our channel, that specific episode. YouTube didn't like that. And we got a comment on it, and I told Bello, hey, look, we got this nice comment from someone. And it looked really legit to me. Usually when you see an automated comment, it's pretty clear that it's a bot sending you something. It's like a link, or click this link now to win, or something like that, Those are obviously the really obvious ones that jump out at you. But I think it's super interesting that you are actually thinking about how people perceive an automated comment and how you can make a convincing automation algorithm on a large scale, and that it doesn't start to look fake. I mean, I bet there's gone a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, I actually do like many kinds. One of the aspects of the automation is it's called like spin text or spin comments to do many different texts, many different types of comments. So I want to be repeat about myself, and then it's very easy to the algorithm to say, oh, you're doing automation. Can you remind me what I actually comment on your video, please? I know Bill told me, but I forgot.
I think it was something like very cool video. It reminds me very much of the content that Dr. Jarvee, aka Adi, is doing. You should check out her channel. And we were like, oh, I was convinced. I clicked on the link, checked you out, hopped on the Zoom meeting with you, and there you are. So it worked 100%, I would say. And even though we knew that it was automation, it was even working in a positive way, I would say. So
yeah, the comment said, "This is cool. This explanation reminds me of the content of Adi. She's an expert in social media automation, and that is why they call her Dr. Jarvee. You should check her out on YouTube." So that's what it said. But it was actually pretty pertinent to the content in the video. You know what I mean? Because the video was about social media algorithms and stuff like that, and the comment was like perfectly in context of that.
Yeah.
So that's why it was so convincing. So I wonder, do you actually look at the content of certain things that you were automating on, and based off of that making decisions? Or because this was like on point. So is that a conscious thought that has gone into that to make the comment, align with the context of the content that you are engaging with?
Yes and no. It's a bit like that, because what I do, I can actually target, like my comment actually comes to your channel because of the keywords you add on your YouTube channel, on your video, on your title. So I can actually target based on these keywords. But for example, in your case, it was actually great, as you mentioned. I can also like comment on people who like it actually happened to me once. Someone actually make a video about like Jarvee, the tool I'm mostly using. He said like, that's a terrible tool, don't use it. It's like this. And I just like comment, oh, thank you for the video. Such a cool video. You can also, over here it's not on point. So I think this is like the part of automation, because, you cannot eat all the cake and be like so thin. You will get fat at some point. So there's like good parts and bad stuff, bad parts. We do it actually was pretty well. I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I can take this risk. Yeah.
The funny thing is that at that point, we didn't use keywords at all. We only started after our call. Someone else told me that we should use tags on our channel so that our YouTube channel is searchable again through the tags. And everything we did was only, I think, title in the browser. Maybe that might be the keyword that affected your Jarvee, your bot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that we, even though if we didn't try to be in these SEO optimization thing with tags and everything, even you still got attached to us somehow. My question would be, another question about this is, it's automation or many times makes people think of artificial intelligence, but it's only algorithms. Or is there some, artificial intelligence at play as well?
I think there are today, yes. Not in my level, but I think, yes, today you have like some crazy automation stuff you can do, for example, on Facebook or other platform with AI and a bit more tricky stuff. So I think yes, but not in my area.
Mm-hmm. So we also, Tom, you go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I just have another question on like automation makes me or connects is in my idea very connected, and I think in many people's heads connected to fake growth. I guess you can have growth, but how organic is it still, or how real is the growth that you're getting with automation? Because I feel like when you start using automation, it feels like to me, I haven't used it obviously, but it feels like to me you would get followers that aren't really relevant to you. Like it's the same when I tried advertising on Facebook one time. And I targeted, and I really worked with the targeting and everything, and I got the weirdest profiles, liking my content. Some guy in Colombia, and some really people that were way out of my what I was looking for, right? Which is also, I guess, a kind of automation. Like the Facebook advertising is a kind of automation, and it's showing your content based off of an automated algorithm. So I guess this is doing something similar. So how are you, or how does it work? Like, how do you make sure that your growth is organic and real and engaging?
Great question. So what I like on the automation tools, no matter if it's like LinkedIn or Instagram, or you want me to focus about Instagram or YouTube, I can talk about many.
No.
Just in general, like, how can you make sure that the growth you're getting is organic and relevant to what you're looking for?
So basically what you can do, you can actually scrape the data before, let's say, you're doing any actions like following or unfollowing. You can scrape the data based on some filters. For example, I can scrape only males, who has males who have at least like 20 posts to make a post in the last week, who have like a German name. Let's say I want only German names. And I want to make sure they are engaged with the hashtag IT. Because, for example, I have an IT company, and I want to make sure they also engage with this hashtag for the last 48 hours. And I know they're like pretty, if it's like, they're pretty active. So I can actually filter the people I'm engaged with. Now, of course, it's still automation, you're right. So it cannot be like 100% the most pure audience, but I can tell you like around 80, 85%, it's very, like, this is the right audience.
That much? That's crazy.
It's all about the filtering, like how you filter people. Or for example, on LinkedIn, you can filter people with their titles. You can use the sales navigator on LinkedIn. You can actually make sure you connect to the exact people you want. So it's even more easy.
So how many people do you like? Is it a big thing? Is there a big community in the shadows that we all don't know about, but everyone's doing it in the background, like somehow?
Yeah, I think that it's a very small community. This is one of the reasons I actually go to this point and not to the white hat and PPC or website building and all of this nice stuff, because the black hat is like something that people they don't even want to do that. It's like very risky, as Tom mentioned. You don't have a lot of information. Like, let's be honest. I actually try to learn from the best people about automation in the world, about Jarvee, about scraping, and it's very hard to even like get to people, like, they have no face. People doesn't want to speak about it, like, So
is that dangerous for you to be publicly telling us that you're going in this direction? Might you not be easier to target?
I think like, let's say illegally, like, let's say country is legal, so like in United States or no more. I'm not like a criminal, not yet. No, sorry, I'm not.
Laws change.
After this podcast.
Yeah.
She is in Sweden. She's definitely in Sweden.
Exactly. I would just change my IP. Like, I'm basically, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's not illegal, that's for sure. I think it's like one of the aspects I also want to talk about here about it is like all of the social media platforms, whether it's like LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they all know exactly about what automation software are doing, and they can measure that and they can track it. It's very easy. Now, it's not a big risk for me as I see this because I think they like it. We are playing for their hands. Why? Because we actually make people to use. We increase the user, like user, I said like the time users spend on their platforms, right? Because if I will do now follow to Tom, Tom will now, oh, who is Adi? She follow me, and if I'm doing automation on a smart way, so I target Tom from a reason, not just because he's like just Tom. So I think they like it. This is why they're like fighting with that, but not really. If they really want, we can just close all of the automation tools like Jarvee, just call them, go down, or we sue you in $2 million or something like that. But they don't do it, right? So,
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. So
they actually
officially,
condone it.
Yeah. They officially have to be like, hey, stop doing it. But in the back, they're like, continue, please continue.
Yeah, like as long as it's not, like there are some points, for example, I can tell you that in June 2019, all of the people who used to do automation on Instagram, this is like the mainstream, it's like not that hard. It's used to be not that hard. And then Instagram said, come on, you eat so much from our cake, it's too much. And then they do a lot of restrictions. But generally, not a lot of people doing it, it's like, as you mentioned. So it's like, okay.
So it's interesting to me because obviously, like you said, there is a benefit for social media platforms, because people spend more time on their platform. But this kind of leads into my next question, which is, why would someone use some external automation or the native advertising on the platform? Like I said before, the native advertising is also some kind of automation. So, I mean, in that sense, you could say that the automation tools are cutting into the direct revenue streams of these social media platforms. So that doesn't seem, quite good for them. So, yeah, why would someone use an external automation tool, which is risky, instead of advertising with the tools that the social media platform offers on its own?
It's a very great question. I agree with you about it. So I think that you have like, for example, let's compare it. You can do a paid ads for me on any platform and say like, buy me, buy that, click this. I can choose, I can see your ad, I like it, I not. It's not like direct connection. Or, for example, you can comment on one of my posts or do like direct engagement with me. So I think it's to compare between the organic and the paid advertising, it's different kind of approach and it's different kind of results. For example, if you would try to do a campaign to get followers, you will find out it's not that easy and it's not the same psychology like people, like the psychology journey people making. For example, if you follow me, I just want to check you automatically. Like, who are you? What are you doing? I like you or not. If you just an ad, I don't know. I see many ads. You know what I mean. So it's basically the results. I think that this is the part of like also the money. If you do like paid ads to get followers, it's much more expensive. Depends which country, but most of them. And I think it's like the classic way of like these kind of things. It's just like working. People do it a lot of times. My clients, for example, they do all of this kind of stuff manually, and they get to some point. They told me like, okay, I don't have time to this. I cannot scale it. I'm doing the same actions to the same people because I don't remember. I need someone. So, yeah.
So follow for follow is still the way to go in 2021, from what I'm hearing. You should just automate it.
Yes, one of the ways. And also it depends which platform. For example, in Clubhouse, I actually love the Clubhouse, I must tell you guys. I don't think Clubhouse, I won't do follow-on Clubhouse because Clubhouse, especially now, it's all about value. It's all about like to connect to people that you really want to be in the room, like in a room with them. So no, like for example, on Pinterest, if you do follow on Pinterest, like, come on Instagram, it's still working, like the results. It's like this is what they actually important. But not only that, like I'm always telling to people asking me, like, Adi, what is the best a way to grow on Instagram in 2021. So it's not only follow and follow, it's to do automation, it's to do paid ads, to do influencer marketing, to think outside the box, to do giveaway, to do more growth hacking stuff, but not only one way, is what I think.
Mm-hmm. So what does it do? Like, I want to get back to the controversial aspect of our talk, because I mean, this is very fascinating to hear firsthand and have an expert telling us like why it's working. Just hearing it, it's super logical. I understand it. I kind of understand now why your bot pointed us to you, and I love it because it's like a follow up to Eastblock Boys content and even more in depth. But my question is, what does it do to us? Because first of all, of course, you have the psychological on how to catch somebody. Like, he's going to be intrigued to look at my profile if I follow him and everything. But what is, are there bad aspects? Is there something that you think, you would criticize about it, for example?
Yes. So now we speak about the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. So there are some disadvantage, I think, in everything in our life, and we can try to be blind for that, but it's not really working like that. One thing I think it's make us a bit lazy, automation, because I can automate so many stuff in my life. I can use automation tools, I can use automation software. If I want to get data, I just use scraping. So if I want to connect to people today, it's much more easy than it used to be, let's say, 10 or 20 years ago, right? So we have become a bit lazy, and it's not so good to be lazy. Another aspect, it's like sometimes it can be a bit personal. Now, I also wrote it on my post. If you saw this, like, I think nothing is personal in this world. Like, people, it's not about you or about me. It's like about every person, like it's about the world. It's how I see it. Like, it's not like someone tried to do you in purpose something. It's something inside him, like how is the world. But yes, like if you do, sometimes people, I get it from my clients, if we do follow to someone and after, let's say, 7 days, we do unfollow and you see that, so you can feel like, what you just did, like what is this, like I game for you, and you take it personally.
Yeah.
Now what I'm saying to in this situation, it's like, come on, we don't want people on Instagram, for example, to really have the time to check who did follow and follow on them. This is not people we want to really engage with. This is how I see it. But we'll always have like this percentage of people, like a few people in a while that do that. So you can also hurt people at some way, this part of the
That's
aspect.
so interesting that you mentioned that. Yeah, it's kind of you don't even mean to, by accident you're kind of hurting some people's feelings. Like
I've have a personal experience with this.
Okay. And your voice even sound hurt. Tell us the story. Tell us.
But I've had it happen a ton of times actually, and even a photographer that I've met in real life. I went to a convention for Fujifilm products in Brussels, and I met quite a bit of photographers there. Some that I already knew, and some that I didn't know. And there was this one guy that I did know, but the way I knew him because he followed me and unfollowed me like 5 times. And I knew that this was this guy, and I actually like him and I like his photography, but I refuse to follow him because he keeps following and unfollowing me again. He did this like 5 times, but he stopped doing it now. But this is the only reason that I don't want anything to do with this guy, even though I know him and I like his stuff.
Crazy. So it can even be create the counter effect that you lose the people that you actually want to attract. For example, because Tom is, for example, a very talented food photographer, and maybe one day he wants to do a collaboration in food photography, and then you might be like, no, that guy, he's good, but he's antisocial. We don't want him.
Yes.
It can create these kind of repercussions, right? Okay, that's extremely interesting because it happens to me all the time, and I never understood why. but I didn't care enough about it. I just don't care about Instagram, but I see my numbers going up and down. And sometimes even I think I was thinking that Instagram was toying with me because my fiance used to manage my phone and my Instagram, and she was like, huh? On this phone you only have this much followers, like one or two more or less. And on her phone I had one or two, like there was the numbers were wrong. And I thought that I did something wrong, but now I understand it's just the nature of the platform, or how the platforms have become, kinda.
That's
And
true. Yeah. Sorry.
no, it's good. I just realized that it's kind of normal. It's kind of the don't hate the game, don't hate the player, hate the game scenario. But then again, some people don't know that the game is going on. Like they're just in the middle. Like they get run over by something, and you're like, "Oh, sorry."
I don't like that game.
I must say, actually, for you, Tom, that you know what's happened to you. It's not to you. Sorry, to the photographer. Photographer. Sorry, it's really. I don't like these stories, and I will explain. Um, when you know to do, for example, automation as a professional. So let's say I follow you, and let's say I didn't follow you after 7 days with Jarvee, if I know to set it up correctly. So your name will automatically go to a list called ignore. This list means I will never play, with you again,
Yeah.
because then you will feel
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
come on, what are you, like you're follow, unfollow, but no,
Yeah.
decide,
Yeah.
or you follow or you unfollow. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that.
That's how I knew his name so well. That's how I knew his name so well, because it keeps
I know your
popping up in
name.
my notifications every time, the same username following you. Wait, I thought you followed me 2 weeks ago. What the hell is this? He's just trying to like, I'm still here. I'm following you. But I'm not following you now, but I'm following you again now. Not anymore. I keep seeing that name. Man, what a guy. But it's good that your platform does not do that. Because that's not fun.
Yeah. Okay, so he was just not a professional, and he just...
Yeah, I mean, I can understand if someone follows me and my content changes and they don't want to follow me after, like that's fine. But that,
like I did it
that was
drastically.
yeah, but that was really blatant, in that case.
Yeah. Just for context, I had a street photography account, and then I just started posting green images with no context, no explanation, nothing. So I lost a lot of followers, and some of my followers were so personally hurt that they sent me messages, some of them even long messages, about why they are unfollowing me now. Like at first I thought you would do something amazing, but now I had enough. I'm gonna unfollow you now, just so you know, don't do it ever again. And I was like, okay, sorry, I didn't know that my Instagram belongs to you. But yes, Instagram is a very personal space. One question about TikTok. Would you do the same things on TikTok? Because I experimented with TikTok 1 week.
Definitely. I'm doing it also with the TikTok, not with Jarvee, actually, with another software. And it's even working much better than Instagram, because it's all about all of these kind of platforms. It's all about to get to do it as they just started. So for example, I don't know if you know, or the people who listen to us, but back then in, let's say, 2018, or even no, 18, not 19, I used to do 1,000 follow actions in a day on Instagram. So my result was wow. Now TikTok, it's not 1,000, but it's not that far from that. And it's every social platform as so new, and people don't know how to do it. So you can take advantage of that and play the game based on their rules. So yes, for your question, it's working.
I just had an epiphany. I just understand what you just explained a couple of minutes earlier, like 10, 15 minutes earlier. Like following people is just like tapping them on the shoulder and be like, hey, I exist. And they will also see you. And talking about followers, like welcome Hamsi Tion. Adi, you're amazing. Hamsi Tion is saying.
Thank you.
So it's kind of like you tap people on the shoulder because it's such a crowded space that they will not notice you otherwise, right?
That's true. Like if you think about it, like today to get people attention, think about
Mm-hmm.
it. Like on Instagram, how many users do you have? I don't know. Like I think it's more than 10 billion. Like I don't know, so many people. And even in general, to get people attention today, we have TikTok, we have Clubhouse, we have work, we have notification, we have email, we have the Facebook, we have. So if you want to get them to get their like eyes or to get them know about you, as you mentioned, you must do something differently. If I will just honestly, and I know like people maybe will hear this and you will say like, come on, this girl, she doesn't know nothing, like she doesn't know me. I'm like people like sometimes saying like I will upload my best content. Actually, it happened to me with many photography of my clients. So like, listen, I have a beautiful content. I'm a talented photographer. You're totally like that, really. Like your photos, amazing. But honestly, it's not enough for today. Like if you only upload content and you think that's it, people will know about you. It's not working like this. So you have to think outside the box and try to, okay, what I need to do to get people. No.
There's one thing that I learned on Clubhouse because I've been, I like to enter these. I'm when we started this Controverse thing, I invited Tom and was like, "Hey Tom, you're always positive. I'm always negative. Let's do it together. So I will be the negative part and you will be the positive part." And our first episode already was I was positive and he was negative, and I was like, "Hey, you're doing completely the opposite." But so generally, I am more a skeptical, reserved person. I don't close my arms or eyes. If I see that I'm skeptical about something, I try it out and give it because of that a chance, because I don't like it. So I'm like, I don't like it, so I'll do it to find out if I really don't like it or if it's just my prejudice or something. And on Clubhouse, I entered many, many, many rooms, like dating rooms, Tinder rooms, and wherever. Like everything was okay. My fiance knew about it and everything, but I entered almost every room I could find. And one room was how to promote yourself on Instagram. And I learned something that also makes so much sense, but I couldn't come up with that thought without somebody else telling me. They have strategies like they like content half an hour before they post and half an hour after they post, because so the people who they liked will also look at them. Like it's kind of the same thing that you mentioned with following them and then unfollowing. They just get a notification, oh, that person likes your stuff. Then you're intrigued to look at this stuff and be like, oh yeah, okay, the photography of Tom is not that bad. I'll give him a like. So all of these
That's so
strategies
interesting.
come together. Yeah, it's super interesting. And
Also, when you
now,
follow people, I guess, do it when you just posted something.
yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly. Follow
Yeah.
people before you post. Half an hour earlier, that's what they did. But I feel like it then, as you said, is only a game anymore. It has nothing to do with personality. But then again, I'm not sure, because once you have the contact, you have established connection. You can. It depends on what you do with it, right?
Definitely. I think like you get people, let's say, get people to watch your content and to see your beautiful content, whether if like you're a chef, you're a photographer, no matter what you're doing in your life. And I think like it's if you know what you're doing, if you really have some value in your profile, so it's all good. Then people will want to keep following you and maybe like send you a message like, hey, that's a great photo, like, oh hey, how much this product cost? I love these shoes. So I think it's all about like to do it in a way that it's not like it still play with the rules. For example, like many of my clients or people I'm working with asking me, Adi, can you do comments on Instagram? Automatically comments. And I'm telling them like technically yes, we can do this. But honestly, if you're asking me, comments it's very personal on Instagram. Yeah, YouTube something else. But on Instagram, if you comment on people's photos, something a bit, you know, I
Mm.
cannot make it look that real. So I think I wouldn't do comments, but let's say if you follow or unfollow or even do likes to people's content, how can they know if it's you or the automation tool or a VA or
No.
they wouldn't know.
Mm. So does the automation tool does it from my profile? For example, I have this Bello Leica account, and then my Bello Leica is going to go to Tom and send a comment. Is that how it works?
Yes, it's just like logged into your own profile, and from your own profile, it sends the comments or the likes or the which any action you can do manually, you can do automatically.
Hmm. But isn't there something like a block, for example, from Instagram? If they realize you just sent 1,000 comments in 1 minute, they're gonna block you because you're spamming?
That's a great point. You're right about that. So this is where like the expert come into the photo. So if you just do too much, how it depends how many actions you're doing per minute, per hour, per day. What are the intervals you're using? How you change the amount of actions? It's all about like to look human. It's also why I like this. I call it like a game. I like this like to do this my job because it's also like
Hmm.
thinking. You need to think about what you're doing. You cannot just like do as you mentioned 100 comments and go to sleep, right? Probably will get
Hmm.
blocked and people will also like report your account. Yeah. So you don't want that.
I see. I don't know if you have a question and you're just polite and let me do all the questions, Tom. But I have one more. But if you have one, I would let you go first because
Go for it.
okay. Um, this semester I've been experimenting a lot with AI, narrow AI, so not AGI, but what we got our hands on GPT-3. Maybe you've heard about it. If not, it's a very very potent natural language processing model. And I'm thinking, like just speculative thinking, do you think it would be like I think I'm sure it's technically possible, but do you think it would be good to do something like create your system that actually has somehow a character that it can reply to replies of people? Or maybe can you, for example, if you have a bot that sends me a message and I'm like, oh, wow, like the comment that you had on our channel. If we were to reply to that comment, like, oh, thank you, so and so, who are you, by the way? And can I get in touch with you? Would that bot be able to talk to me yet? And yeah.
Sorry. You mean
Yeah, no problem.
you mean like not to do like the reply to comment? Let's say I comment on your video, love it, such a cool one, check mine, and then you want like the automation tool will reply to my comment and say, oh, thank you for these great words. You're welcome to something like that. Or you mean like to develop a conversation like a chat? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, to develop a conversation like a chat. Would is that possible with the system you're doing right now already?
Um, yes, kind of. On Instagram actually, but it's very limited. It's not something that it's like so. There are some backs with that, but I must actually tell you and to all of the people who are watching us and listen. So I don't know if you know, but you for sure know. Do you know ManyChat, right?
What? Many chat?
ManyChat?
No, never heard of it.
Sorry, I like think like everyone. You know, these people are saying like everyone is my head. You know, like you know what I'm like. Sorry. So
Yeah.
ManyChat, it's like it's a chatbot platform that it's actually an official partner of Facebook and Instagram. It's like
Ah.
very, very cool. This is what the people, most of the people have on their business page. Now, I just want to let you know
Mm-hmm.
that very, very soon, they already launched the beta of that, sorry. You can build a chatbot on Instagram, like you can do on Facebook page. So you can do it on, you can actually do it on Instagram pages. And that actually
Mm-hmm.
can, like, for example, develop a conversation on the chat. On the comments, not exactly, you can just do like automatically reply. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but for example, I can give an idea for a funnel. If someone replies on your video, so you can reply to his comment and send him to your inbox to send you a message and then the chatbot, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like this stuff. You can actually do it on Facebook.
But
Yeah.
but I think you're working with APIs most of the time, and you're getting the comment right. So technically, GPT-3 is also only or has an API where you could just push the comment to GPT-3, and then it could context based generate the answer. and post another comment. So I think technically it's possible. And the scary thing about GPT-3 is the answers are so quote unquote human. Like if you know how to tweak the parameters right, you can actually, it's sometimes hard to distinguish how like if it's a chatbot or not. I'm good. If you guys are interested, I'm gonna send you afterwards a link where you can test it. But the thing is, I have to limit it to less than 5 people per time. Otherwise, I have to officially ask for permission and everything. But I can send the link to you guys and you can test it out because we're gonna take it down soon. And I'm thinking, if we had a system like that, do you think it would be good to use it, or should we hide it in the box? Because I know that technically it's possible.
Very good question. I think it's all of this stuff. The problem starts when it's very mainstream and everyone can do it, right? Because then if you like give the people the power to do it, some people can use it very good, like you. And some people, like the photography with Tom, they can just hire someone who can just like use it and like you don't know how to use it. So like, I'm not sure. I think like maybe after testing it for a while, what I like to do is like to test these kind of things, understand how it's working, and then maybe like yes, to share it with people, but not just to share it with a guidance, like what to do, how to do, because we don't want eventually all of these social platforms. We don't want to spam people. We don't want to become our own enemies, right? It's not the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think at some point I should share it.
Okay. I'm looking at the clock and officially we have 7 minutes left, but I don't know if we already talk about everything. I don't know if we could from, if you ask me, we can also continue, but we could also go slowly wrap it up. My question is about the last question, maybe, and then you guys can decide whether you want to go on or not. My question is, where do you see these technologies and trends are going in the future? Because obviously nowadays everyone wants to be an influencer. Everyone has an Instagram profile, and it's kind of strange that those people who have big numbers are not like gods. I don't want to use big words, but small prince and princesses. They don't do anything special. Maybe they, have nice images, but they did. Man, some people just did the follow for follow game, and all of a sudden they are important. So, does it? What's your perspective on what's going to happen in the future, based from your perspective?
That's a big question, Vero. If I will be honest, and I always like to be honest, I think that in the near future we will see that like on this year and 2022 and like on the next few years, if people won't play the game with like tools like that, and it's not only one way. Yeah, you don't have to do this. It's like you can continue without it. But I think the people who don't try to do this kind of stuff, like automation, like growth hacking stuff, like even to consider that, or to develop their own system or their own methods to grow faster, they will left behind, right? Because let's say I now go to your Instagram page and I see only have 100 followers. Automatically, psychology in my head, I'm like, even if you're like the most talented person in the world and you're like, wow, you're like amazing, the number are actually count. Now, of course, today people are not stupid and they can know if you purchase followers. It's something I'm not really recommend to do at all. So if you're asking me, the automation will keep developing, so it will be hard to flag it even more. More people will want to do that. And if someone sees us and asking yourself, wait, it is, so maybe I need to work in that. Maybe I need to do what you're doing and I will have great work for all of my life. So my answer to that would be definitely yes. Like the world's totally going for bots, automation in social media, yeah, in life. So I think it will be just a must.
I guess I have one concrete question about choosing what to target, right? Because we know that you can be very specific about who or which kind of profiles you want to be targeting, right? What is the process like? Can you describe shortly the process of how you decide which kind of profiles you want to engage with?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I mostly do it with two ways. The first way, let's say, I will continue with the photography because it's very easy for me. Since you are photography in New York, and your photography of not only, but mostly wedding. Just an example, you photography of wedding. So I will ask you to tell me, Tom, who are the photography in your area in New York who also making wedding photography, and they have great Instagram page with a lot of followers and traffic, and say like, oh, this guy, I want to be like him, and his audience is my audience. So the first step, I will filter these people, and based in your, for example, if you want only women from their followers or only men's, and this stuff. And the second step, and this is something that a lot of people don't do because it's like very easy just to focus on your competition or on your colleagues. But if I want to take it to another step and to be even like smarter, I can tell, okay, what is your avatar? Your avatar, it's like a woman. She's like, mostly the woman, I think the decision is like 30 years old. She's from New York. Okay, so which restaurants she's eating? Which clubs she hang out? What are like the top, you know what I mean? Like even to think outside the box. I always like to think outside the box and not just to go for a competition.
Sure.
Like that.
So you make a profile of your ideal customer, I guess.
Exactly.
We talked about it. Remember, Tom, about personas. Nice. This is so interesting because you do kind of the work of what designers do as well. I thought it's kind of the modern way of marketing. Is it? Would you say that this is the new marketing methods?
Could be, yes, I can call it like that. It's very, it's great words. I think it's very modern, and I think it's why it's so excited about it, right? Because it's not something so classic and generic, like to do paid ads or to do this kind of stuff. And yeah, I think it's like if you combine everything, like this kind of marketing, the classic marketing, everything together, you're like, no one can beat you.
Yeah, I see. Because it's so. I now I understand why you talk so much about this psychology and everything. Because it is so much psychology. It is how it's social engineering, isn't it?
Definitely.
It sounds funny, but yes, like I didn't even mention that something that we're doing on a weekly base, for example, we actually measure how many people follow us back based on the competitor's account and based on specific hashtags or locations. And then what we do, we're doing optimization based on this data. You have so much data. So for example, maybe competitor A give me 20% follow back ratio, and I get a lot of followers from him. But competitor B give me only like 2%. So goodbye and let's go with this one. You know what I mean? Like it's all about numbers, psychology, and play the game.
Wow. And it's crazy that how long has this been going on?
Years, like I think Jarvee existing a lot of times. There's another tool that I'm not allowed to share in public. They don't share this kind of stuff, but I think it's like more than 8 years in total about like these kind of tools. And it used to be much more easy, much more mainstream. Like everyone do it, everyone speak about it. With the years, I think the social platforms understand how much money they're losing, and then they start with restriction to make it harder. And today, the amount of people who really know to do this is very low. Even the amount of softwares you can do this kind of stuff is very low. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's what I wanted to ask. I thought like, okay, Jarvee is maybe one of 1,000 tools, but it's like a tiny niche at the moment.
Definitely, like the amount of people doing that. I don't like to say numbers. I think maybe, I don't know, like maybe my community can help me with that. Like we have also like the Facebook community of Jarvee with like 7K people. I think it's a few hundreds of people, hundreds or maybe, I don't think maybe thousands, but it sounds a lot for me. really know how to do it, not just like automate 1 or 2 accounts, or like making a business from this. So not a lot, maybe thousands, but no, I don't think more than that.
Wow. Crazy.
Did you also grow this community with the help of automation?
I like this question. No, it's so funny. Like, people ask me, so how your community is like 7K people in like in a year and a half, something like that. And no, they over there on Facebook, I just put a lot of content, days, nights, how it's, and people join their friends. So no automation over there, not yet. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a great way to grow these days on social media, and even as as an influencer, I suppose, is just like you're giving, you're obviously giving value to people, right? You're educating, and I feel like educating is something that we need to do more. And and people will follow you if you do that, and will keep coming back to you, and they will give you value back if you do that. So yeah, I think it's nice that you're doing that.
Yeah, I think this is a nice closing sentence. If we want to close it, we have to decide now. I think I would love to talk to you way more, but I think they would maybe be like 2 hours or so. So maybe we could go on for a bit, or if you would be on board, we could maybe do another episode with you in a different date if you have the time and if you liked what we did here. I guess we'll let you decide. How do you feel? Is there anything that you would want to bring up that we haven't touched yet and that should definitely be mentioned?
You talked about so many things. I try to think if I like something is missing. No, I think actually we talk about everything. I also don't want to make it, like too much, because I know it's a lot of information and many people like are not familiar with all of the things you just mentioned. And by the way, there are much more. I only this is like just the basic, just the start. Yeah, there's
Tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. That's I can already see that. I would love to ask you about the stuff that you're not allowed to talk about, like like see how far we can, how much we can get out of you. But I will not go in there today. Then maybe if it's okay for you, I would say let's wrap it up for today, and we're gonna have you back with part 2 soon. Not in the next episode directly, but I will get back to you. I don't know, in maybe 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. But we'll stay in touch if we're all okay with it. Tom, Adi.
Absolutely. You're always welcome to join us again, of course, Adi. And thank you for your time today on this call.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. We learned so much. Sorry. I talk too much.
No, sorry. It's like the internet in Mexico, by the way, it's not the best for all of you who consider. I actually upgraded to the 200 megabytes, but Mexico, it's not like, Europe, it's not like, or United States, it's not that fast. The 200 megabytes is on the way. So thank you so much. Actually, it was so much fun because I don't know if you know, but also on my YouTube, on my community, I always speak about technically stuff and like how to do things, how, but not about why and all of like these parts. So makes me fun, a lot of fun to speak about this aspect. And I hope the people who watch us like get some value. And like what I like about automation, maybe it will sound a bit nerd, or maybe you think like this girl, she's taking a lot of stuff and she's not with us, but that you can actually take this to the real life, like everything that you're actually doing, you can scale it, you can make it better, you can like put more thinking about it, and it will be totally different, even if it's like just to wash the dishes. Wait, let's think about it. Like maybe do it in a smart way and a lot of stuff like that. So thank you so much. It was great, guys. And I'm looking forward to our next episode on the future.
Nice.
And thank you.
Yeah, maybe next time we can talk about the philosophy of real life automation, of automation in real life, and what you think about that, because obviously you've been thinking about that as well. Very interesting topic.
Yeah, how much of your life is automated and stuff? Don't answer yet. But yeah, okay, we will definitely talk to you again, see you again, and I'll just say thank you and shut up and let Tom do the outro if he wants, because that's
sure.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you very much, Adi.
Thank you,
for
guys.
joining us today. Thank you for listening to the people who were here. And we will see you in the next episode of The Controverse here on twitch.tv/thecontroverse or thecontroverse.eu. And I want to ask Adi, where can we find you? Where can the listeners find you?
On Facebook, actually, today I got my Instagram again. I did some. I have also Instagram. It's not that active, but Facebook, actually, my profile or the community or Clubhouse, LinkedIn also. So yeah, just write my name and you will find me for sure.
We'll add your links to the description. And I forgot to mention one thing, Tom. Last time we forgot to turn off the stream, and we decided to do a after stream. you know, so. For anyone who is watching, also you, Adi, if you are interested and still have time, we're gonna, have a small after stream talk. How did we like it? Talk about what we talked about, I guess. So you don't have to. You're invited if you want to. And yeah, okay.
Yeah, for the people on Spotify who are listening back to this and on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening back to this, we will have. If you're watching live, you will get the perk of seeing the little after talk that we do after the podcast. So we did this last time accidentally, where we didn't stop the stream. We were talking, oh yeah, how did you like it? And stuff started happening, and we were just talking casually. So we're gonna do this after every podcast. It's something new we're gonna do. Just a short little after talk. So if you want to be there for that, make sure to be live here on twitch.tv/thecontroverse. So yeah, for the people on Spotify, we're gonna have to leave you now. Thank you very much for listening. And we'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.